Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Colleen O'Brien. This is my co-host, Keryn Lee. Together, we are the Two Unholy Healers. We are spiritual entrepreneurs. We are energy healers. And we talk about what it's like to be a professional energy healer, particularly on those topics that we wish other energy healers had kind of clued us into when in our early days. And one of the things, I think this is a really juicy topic, and we can actually, we're going to try to keep it short. We're going to try to keep it tight to 20 minutes. It's about authenticity. What does authenticity really mean? Because the word gets thrown around a lot in these circles. And I've got some opinions about it. I had to do some work on this myself leading up to this particular live stream. So, but I'm really curious as to what Keryn has to contribute
So
about.
am I.
So take it away, Keryn. Well, how can I lead you in? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. And that was a reference to my lack of preparation. So we're flying by the seat of our pants today, which we quite often do anyway. So that's all good. Authenticity. So as Colleen said, this is something that has become more focus when we look at what's happening in the world now, when we look at marketing especially. And it's kind of a hype word now, to the point where you just start to get a little bit sick of hearing it. It's like it's overused sometimes. And I think people are doing it a lot now because we have a lot more entrepreneurs coming up wanting to create their own business from that place of really being unique, being true to who they are, that type of thing. And so I think the premise is good. I think the idea of that heart-centered or connection to who you are in what you offer is great, but I think it can become a little bit inauthentic, a little bit like plastic, a little bit fake sometimes.
Almost
People
performative, right?
Exactly. And we see this in, just as a rough example, things on Instagram or other advertising where people are portraying an image of wealth and prosperity, and they have this. Now, I know people who do this, and that's not what's going on in the background. So they may have a sense of wanting to be authentic or hoping to be authentic, but what they're portraying is not always authentic. And we're told to, be this energy, be it before you can, feel it before you be it, and all this sort of stuff. And it's like,
fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly. And to a certain extent, I have to say that I did that earlier in my business, not so much pretending to be, super wealthy and successful in that, but definitely pretending to know more than I did and have more confidence than I did. But I don't think that was a bad thing in the beginning, because it actually helped me develop that confidence. So it was more for my own, you got to do this, you want to do this, let's do this. Okay, let's just be confident, even if I wasn't feeling it. So I can understand that to some point. But I think when it really starts to get into the big marketing and the big sale, it's like a sales pitch in a way. I think it loses all its authenticity and it becomes just another sales ploy. And we hear people saying in marketing, they say things like, but your client doesn't know that they need your service. You have to tell them, you have to show them all these pain points so that they know they want what you're selling. Well, it's just not true. In reality, if we actually require something, if we're truly in touch with who we are, we bring it to us. We find it comes to us. And I've had so many examples of this recently, but I'll talk more about that later. But I have more to say on authenticity, but I want to leave it there. Colleen, do you want to add some stuff in at this point?
Yeah, I love that. And it dovetails into, and I will own that this is a judgment, and hate is a really strong word for this, but I hate when the advice is given to use authenticity as a shortcut to connect with clients or even with an audience, right? Because you do see that an awful lot, particularly in social media. I mean, you and I have been around long enough that some of these platforms that are really popular now were not invented when we started our businesses. And there is something very magnetic to people just being themselves, right? Talking to camera, talking about what they know. And I think the true meaning or the way that they're really able to connect authentically is because they accept themselves. And they love themselves. Now, that's not to say that they don't have bad days, that it's not a work in progress. I mean, I think the thing that the marketing gurus, they're looking at that short-term gain, right? They're not really saying like, hey, you've got to walk the walk. Authenticity is a practice. It is not just something you be, it is something that you become and you continuously evolve. And so to use it as a shortcut, to use it as a buzzword, to use it as an excuse for bad behavior, there's something that I just totally, I'm going to say abhor. That's and I realize
Colleen's getting down in it.
Yeah. Let me be a little elitist and throw in all my vocabulary words. Because, if you're not going to do the work yourself, then it's just projecting. It's just like, oh, I'm a hot mess, and so I'm going to use it for content. And if you don't love me, well, then that's your problem. And it's like, no, like I'll own that. Yeah, okay, maybe there's something in you that's reflected that I don't like about myself, but it's an opportunity for you as a hot mess, if you choose not to be a hot mess anymore, to work on not being a hot mess. You know what I mean? But I do love what you said too about the whole, hey, I've got to do this, and maybe act like I'm confident. That's how you learn. You learn by doing, and but utilizing that as a feedback to learn more about yourself and to continue and grow. And it's not like some quick thing like, oh, suddenly today I'm authentic, and then I always I don't have to change. Like there's sort of this, not necessarily perfection, but just this self-acceptance doesn't mean that you don't change.
And it was also a motivation, like, you can do this, come on, you can do it, like just pretend. But I wasn't lying to people that I was making millions of dollars. There was nothing like that. It was more a personal sort of motivation behind that. Did you have more to say on that, Colleen? I jumped in there.
Oh, no. I love that you jumped in. And that is one of the great things I love about our live streams, is that we just have a conversation and we just invite people to eavesdrop in, because this is honestly, and this is, I don't know how authentic this is going to sound, but the thing that I love most about how much fun this live stream is with you, Keryn, is that it's an excuse for the two of us to get together and catch up every other week.
Exactly, because after these little 20-minute podcasts, we spend a couple of hours continuing our chats. And really, that's when we should have the camera on, because that's when we get into the good stuff. Anyway, we decided not to be
like a reality show. And I mean, I know people who've been on reality shows, and they're not reality, right? Like there was one quote somebody told me that they were like, the director said, "This is reality TV. We're going to do as many takes as we need until we get it right." And it's just like,
oh my God.
Did you hear what you were saying? Like that's
And we all know it, that we know they're all staged.
Right. Like we're all in agreement that, hey, this is entertainment, right? But it's not necessarily people who are seasoned professionals or actors. It reminds me too of those breakdowns that I would see where they would want for quote unquote real people. And it's just like, and
as opposed to not real people,
right? The authentic, people. Right. Like, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this Simpsons episode where Mo was cast in a soap opera, and one of the casting directors was like, she took one look at him, she goes, "Ooh," she's like, "When I said ugly, I meant TV ugly, not ugly ugly." But that's the sort of being confronted with reality.
Yeah.
And then, but how much of authenticity is reality, is honesty, is
Yeah.
integrity, is ethical, right? Like
Yeah.
and does our understanding or expectation of authenticity change based on the medium through which we're consuming that?
Yeah, and you know what? I think, can I give an example of something that happened to me that I think is a good example of authenticity? Um, this was some years back when I was in my healing studio, and I used to do a lot of Facebook Lives at the time. So I was doing this live one day to share a little bit about a class I had coming up. And as I was doing this live, I started telling the story about something that one of my guides said to me many, many years before. And as I started saying this, like I just kind of, all this emotion came up and just tears sort of welled up in my eyes. And I had to stop for a minute and before I could speak again. This happened a couple of times before I was able to complete um, the video. But that video brought more people into that class than I'd ever had before. Not because I was faking it or trying to do some marketing ploy, but because I genuinely had emotion and feeling coming up, which contributed to the class, because that's why I was doing the class, because I wanted to be that guiding light for other people who were in that place that I'd been some years prior. So to me, that was really authentic. And the response from it was just off the charts, you know?
I love that because they could feel that it was real, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was you were just being yourself in the moment, and that you were allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of people who predict this performative authenticity is, particularly if
Mm,
their intent is well, yeah, your intent was, hey, I'm advertising the class, but you weren't, if I may assume, you weren't attached to
mm.
having a certain outcome in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so now I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh my God. Uh, about the fear of rejection, right?
Yeah.
You were putting yourself out there, you were being yourself, you were being vulnerable, and if people rejected you, that would have sucked. You would have had some emotions about that, but it wouldn't have, it wasn't as high stakes, right? Like, am I?
No, no, and you're correct, but also there was no turning back because it was live. So I just had to keep pushing forward, like if I'd been pre-recording it, I would have like ditched that video and done a new one. So it was kind of perfect that it was live. But yeah, I just had to try and get my shit together and keep going. So that was kind of an added benefit because it's yeah, I don't know, I can't even describe it, but I think that it all worked and it worked out well. But I will say one other thing too about authenticity. To me, it's really about truly being you. And I have to say that in the last month or so, I have a greater sense of what being you is than I ever have previously in my life, because these are great words. Oh yeah, if you're just being you, this is great. Oh yeah, just be you. Oh hey, I'm really being me, I'm being myself now. Like we hear this shit all the time. What does it even mean? You
And
know
then
what I
they
mean?
throw the whole, well, I can't tell you how to be you. You're you.
Yeah.
You are,
Yeah.
and it's just like, do I? How do I do that?
Yeah. And let me tell you, it's not something you can deliberately do, or like I'm going to do this now because that's being me. No, it unfolds. And here's what I've discovered, that it's actually right there now, but we don't allow ourselves to open into that, I suppose the word might be, Because when I got a sense of this recently, I realized, oh, it's always been there. It's always there. I've never not really been me. I've just not allowed myself to see that part of me. And the thing for me that actually helped this to start unfolding has been getting my bars run twice a week for the last 8 weeks.
Has it
And
been, have you been doing it that long now?
sorry, not 8 weeks, 4 weeks, but
But
twice a
8
week.
times. So, yeah.
Yeah, and prior to that, a couple of months of doing it once a week. So I'm not really here to like promote the bars, but I just want to share that's something that's worked for me, and I'm sure there's many other things. But what that does is it just clears the crap out your head in a nutshell. So once all that other stuff got cleared out the way, I've just been kind of blown away as these awarenesses are just opening up. And that's what made me realize you can't think your way to this. You have to kind of just let go of everything that's not you and being willing to just receive all of you and be all of you and let it show up in whatever way it shows up. Because when you kind of tap into it, there's just this like this expansion, this space, this awareness. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember you right back when I was a little kid. Hey, hello. So it's a really, really beautiful thing when we're truly tapped into who we really are, that essence of who we are. And to me, that is even beyond what we know as the word authenticity. That's when we're really, truly being who we are. It's got nothing to do with marketing. It's got nothing to do with other people. It's just who we be in our daily lives and how we show up in our daily lives. And the more we're willing to be that, then the more that impacts the people around us,
I love that for you. And even when you were talking, there's a peace and, like you said, an expansion to that. It's more of a feeling
Yeah,
than a thinking. Like there's some sort of limitation and restriction to trying to define yourself,
exactly. Yeah,
or even to define authenticity.
yeah,
And I will say that while the bars are great, I haven't had mine run in a while, but I think you're just making a commitment to
yeah,
allow
to be
yourself,
me. Yeah,
well, and to do some work,
yeah,
that benefits you, right?
yeah,
And so that could be a meditation practice. That could be breathing. That
yeah,
could be, hey, I'm just
exactly.
going to take a walk every day. That could
Yeah.
be, I'm going to journal. There are any number of practices, of
Mm.
details that anyone could do. But if they, again, it's a practice. Authenticity is a practice. It is something that you do so that you can allow yourself to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is like you said, it was the intention and my choice. If I look back to I did a self-care challenge with a friend, and which started this sort of thing. And at the very beginning of that, in the first video we made, my goal, let's say, was about being me, being more of me, uncovering who and what that is. And that's definitely started showing up. So that's correct. It's about our intention and then doing the work, not with a point of view about the result or an expectation, but just, hey, this is the direction I'm pointing, and then just letting the universe come in to support that in whatever way shows up.
And intention is really the key, right? Because you and I could do the same thing to quote unquote be authentic.
Mm.
Or, people could have a marketing program like, this is how you be authentic. And
Yeah,
people will get different results. One, because their intention is different. Like,
yeah,
what are they bringing into it? Are they being authentic because, oh, this is what I have to be, this is what I'm supposed to be, these are the steps I have to take in order to be successful or gain more followers or whatever? Or is it just, hey, I like putting myself out there and connecting with other people and sharing with the world and sharing my journey, right? You and
yeah,
I feel like, have been very transparent, not with what we wanted to share, right? Like, I think that's another danger of being authentic, is oversharing.
yeah.
we don't need to know
Exactly.
there's some stuff it's just like, no, you can keep that to yourself, or
Yeah,
share that,
that's it.
or share it with people offline in private.
Yeah, and is it appropriate to the topic or whatever it is that you're offering? If you start talking about random things that are just nothing to do with that, it's like, do people want to hear that? No, no. I mean, there's some people that might, the ones that read those gossip magazines, etc. But
Right,
yeah,
exactly. So not to say that you and I self-censor, and sometimes we'll get on a little tangent, but we're cognizant of how much we want to share, and we can still be ourselves, 100% be ourselves, and share that energy of who
yeah,
we are without necessarily having to, because this is not therapy. This is not, us just being that hot mess and for content or performative reasons or popularity or love or whatever.
yeah,
We're happy to share, hey, this is what happened to us. This is where we are on our journey. This is what's, how our businesses have changed and evolved as we have changed and learned more and
mm,
walked the walk. Like, we do continue to work on ourselves
mm,
regularly. And
yeah,
I think if you watched our previous episodes, even from, a couple of years ago in season 1, you'll notice we're different.
yeah.
But we're still us.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what this journey is all about. Those who are sort of choosing more consciousness, more awareness, more transformation, and so on. This is what it's all about, to grow and evolve. And it doesn't always show up how we think it will. But when we're choosing this path, we do make a commitment to something greater. And yeah, it doesn't always look greater as my past couple of years were not. But that's definitely changing, and there's a lot of really cool stuff happening now. And I can look back and go, oh yeah, that's why all that happened. So yeah, that is part of this. We just want to share our journey. We want to share some, our perspectives, things that have happened to us. And if that can help other people who are on this journey or as healers or whatever it is, yeah, we're really delighted to contribute to that.
Yeah, because ultimately we're doing this because it's fun, right? And
Yeah,
I think we
exactly.
have a great deal more freedom now in season 2
Yeah,
than we did in season 1, because I think in season 1 a lot of it was more, oh well, how can we market things, and we were in different places, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so we're delighted to connect with new people. And there goes Keryn's internet again. She did this right before we were going to hit live. Well, she didn't do it. Something happened. So I think that's a great time for us to wrap up. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Colleen O'Brien for Keryn Lee, the Two Unholy Healers. We will see you in another 2 weeks where we'll have another episode. There we go. Authentically. Sometimes I get tongue tied. Maybe Keryn is going to join again as I'm signing off. Yay! Okay, I was just about to wrap up. Do you have any closing words, Keryn?
No, that's all. Obviously, I was ready to go. My computer was ready to go. So thanks everyone for watching and listening and being here and being present. And feel free to send questions or topic ideas if you would like to contribute, and we can have a chat about different things. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.